Now let's look at another example of experimental design. So I'm going to go ahead and read through this example and try and figure out what is the treatment and what is the response in this study. So it says, one day while scrolling through Facebook, I came across an article entitled, "The Secret to a Long Marriage is Drinking Together." This is actually true. I did see this article and immediately I thought, what is going on here? So it stated that couples who drink together stay together. Over 2,000 couples were involved, and they found that couples who reported drinking alcohol together, even just a few times a year, were less likely to get on each other's nerves and more likely to have a positive outlook on their marriage. So the study highlighted that what's important was not how much the couples drank, but that they both drank together. If both partners drank, they were more likely to have a happier marriage than if just one of them did. So, right away, this article was saying that people who drink together stay together. Treatment and response right there. So, based only on the information above, this study is an example of what? And I don't hear anything about a researcher randomly assigning couples to drink together or not. Instead, I think the researchers were just observing what couples naturally did. So I'm going to go ahead and say that for part A. So it says, based only on the information above, this study is an example of an observational study. And then I'll say, there was no assignment to treatment and control by the researcher. And we said that the treatment was drinking together. The response was happier marriages. So because this was an observational study, in part B, it says, what can we conclude? Remember, correlation doesn't imply causation. I can't for sure say drinking together causes you to have a happier marriage. Instead, there could be a confounder. I'd want to say, well, we see this association or correlation, but I don't know about the causal relationship. So looking at these options, this is multiple choice. I'm going to kind of read through and talk about each of them. So the first one says, we see there's an association between drinking alcohol together and happy marriages. True. However, we aren't sure if there's a causal relationship. There could be other variables confounding the data. That is perfect. That is exactly right. The next one says drinking alcohol together causes couples to stay together. Steve and I should drink together as much as possible if we want to remain happy in our marriage. Ooh, that is assuming that correlation implies causation, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to get rid of that one. The next one says drinking alcohol and happy marriages are not related to each other at all. Well, we saw that they were from this study, so I don't like that one either. And then number 4 says when one partner drinks and the other doesn't, it causes marital problems. And again, with this one, I don't like that word causes. So the first one was definitely the best response. There is a correlation. We don't know about causation yet. And then the last part of this question, it says based only on the information given below, we want to decide, are these confounders causal links or neither? So again, I'm going to go ahead and use my diagram to help me do this. So I'm going to start with my treatment and response, and then I'm going to put the thing in the middle that they give me. So my treatment, we said, was drinking together. And then the response is happy marriages. And the first option is shared interests. So I'm going to put that in my box. Shared interests. And it says couples with shared interests are both more likely to drink together. All right. So if they have shared interests, they're more likely to maybe have a shared interest of drinking and drink together. And it also says that couples with shared interests are more likely to engage in other activities that lead to happier marriages. So they're saying shared interests also lead to happy marriages. So this right here, because both my arrows are going in the opposite directions, this is an example of a confounder. Maybe it's not the drinking together that causes the happier marriages. Maybe it's the shared interests. So I'm going to go ahead and label this one as our confounder, a third factor that's making it look like the treatment is causing the response when really they're both just related to that factor. For the next one, we have endorphins. So again, I'm going to put my treatment on the left, drinking together. I'm going to put my response on the right, which is the happy marriage. And then I'm going to put the thing that I am given in my box. And it says endorphins. And reading a little further, it says alcohol releases endorphins, making you feel happier, which leads to happier marriages. So it's saying when you drink together, the alcohol releases endorphins. So drinking together leads to these endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, and then you'll have a happy marriage, is basically what this one's saying. So hopefully it makes sense that this one is an example of a causal link. It's saying, what about the treatment? What about drinking together is causing the response? How can I explain that? Well, it's the endorphins that come from the alcohol. So that's different than the previous one. Shared interest was more of a third factor. Endorphins is something that comes from the alcohol when they drink together. And then the last option is commitment. So I'm going to put that in my box. I have drinking together as my treatment. Happy marriages as my response. And then in the middle, I have commitment. And this says marital happiness depends on a strong commitment from both partners to continually work on resolving their problems rather than running away from them. So they're saying if you have this commitment to each other, you're more likely to have a happy marriage. But I saw nothing about drinking together, right? They didn't say anything about you have a commitment if you drink together or anything like that. So I actually put a question mark there. There's not really that connection. So this is more of commitment is kind of a thing that can influence the response, but we're trying, again, our goal is to figure out how is the treatment related to the response. So commitment I would classify as neither a confounder or a causal link. So hopefully that helps make this clear of what's a confounder, what's a causal link, what are the problems with observational studies. And always remember, correlation does not imply causation.